are you from Pampa originally?
No, ma'am. I was born in Findlay, Ohio.
Findlay, Ohio.
Mm.
Okay.
I was inducted in the Army in 1966 in Columbus, Ohio.
Okay. Okay. So how old were you when you went in?
I was supposed to have been 17, but I wasn't quite 17. I forged my mother and father's name and went in service.
Okay, so you joined rather than be drafted?
Yes.
Why did you do that?
Well, I guess I just wanted to go in and do something for my country. And I had brothers in the Air Force and Army, and I just wanted to go in, and I wanted to make a career out of it, but I didn't.
Mm-hmm. So you went to basic training, and what were you headed for?
Okay, I went to basic training in Fort Benning, Georgia, at a place called Sand Hills. In '66, the height of Vietnam was just starting pretty much, and they told us as soon as we graduate and get a little AIT, advanced training, we'd go to Vietnam. So we really didn't get a chance to, like they do now, to see what field you want.
Mm-hmm.
They put you wherever they wanted.
Okay. So you were infantry when you went in?
No, ma'am, I was air defense.
Okay. So what was your job when you went?
I got to Vietnam in '67, and I was they put me in a trucking outfit first. We'd haul ammo to different fire bases and stuff like that. Then about 6 months later, I went to air defense, which is dusters, searchlights, and quads. That's a searchlight was on the back of a Jeep, 23-inch, and we do the perimeter at night.
Hmm.
And we had 2 dusters with us. That's they're mounted on tracks, and they got 2 twin 40s.
Okay, so Trax is a tank?
Yeah,
Okay.
more like a tank.
Okay.
Then quads, we didn't have them up there where I was, but there's around, they have 4 quad 50s, what they call them, 50 caliber, and they're on back of a deuce and a half, and they're pretty well light.
I want to go back to the the truck and ammo first. That must have been a
Oh yes,
dangerous
ma'am.
job.
First convoy I was in, we was going to Bearcat behind Long Bend, and we got hit that morning. We got hit by snipers and just harassment. And one friend I went in with, he was killed instantly. And we made it through our destination. They just got 1 truck out of 10. So
You were hauling from where to where?
we was hauling out of not KGO, I can't remember the name of that place now. It was right outside Long Bend, our ammo dump.
Okay.
Kojido, I think was the name of it. But between Benoit and Long Bend, we got ammo there. Then we go up to Bearcat, which was can't remember what unit was up there. But anyways, we go there and unload. Then we go back, get another load, and we go somewhere else, fire base that needed ammo.
Yeah. How long of trips were these?
Oh, the first one was about 18, 20 miles round trip. It was right behind there, but all in miles, rough roads, and you had to go real slow. Use a perfect target because you had to drive so slow.
I would imagine that you had your heart in your throat the whole time?
Oh, yes, ma'am. I was scared from the time I landed
Really?
and stayed scared until I got back home. But no, if you find somebody that says they're not scared, they're not telling the truth.
That's what I've heard. So you're very young when you land over there.
Yes.
What's your first impression of what you see? Describe that place.
Oh, we landed in Benoit, and the first thing we noticed, as soon as they cracked the door, oh Lord, this is the smelliest place we ever been. I mean, it took your breath away.
What was in the air?
Oh, human stuff, you know, because over there if they wanted to do something, they just squat and do it. And it's a dirty country, real dirty. People are real dirty there. And but that smell hit us, and it was awful. Then we rode buses to the 90th replacement, which was about 7 clicks, and they was all had screen all around them, and we had 3 buses, and we made it over there. Then they started asking us what qualifications we have on things, and that's how they sent you to the units. But that they needed drivers right away for them big trucks with trailers. So I did that for about 3 or 4 months, I think it was. Then they shipped me up north on DMZ there,
Okay.
called Dunn.
So then you arrive there. What's that place like?
It was a little compound. We was on the back side of the 1st Marine Division. We was sharing the compound with them. They had the front, we had the back. And it was about, I think 200 men in the unit. And what we do, we get our Jeeps signed to us with the lights. Then they send us out and build our outpost and everything. Fire base where it was, which I left there in '68 during the Tet Offensive when that started. And we've sent to all different perimeters all around. And we just made sure nobody got through the wire or cut the wire or tried to come in on us.
How much luck did you have with that?
Not too good. Them little guys were good. They was, they've been fighting for hundreds of years. And they can be right in front of you and you can't see them. So we had a few slip by, and but they was eventually caught time they got around. They didn't do no damage.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah, no. We was lucky to get them before they could do a damage. And what they normally do is try to take out your ammo bunker, and in the base camp there they had what they called hooches, and then they try to kill the officers, things like that, our supplies. Then I left there in 1969, and we went to a place called KGO Bridge. And it was on top of a hill, which was about anywhere from 200, 210 foot straight up on 3 sides. And we have one road coming in. And we built our bunkers up there. It was me, my crew, one, and 6, 12, about 14 of us, all Americans. Then the rest was all South Vietnamese Army. They was our perimeter guards, supposed to be. And I stayed up there till March of '70
What was your objective up there?
to guard the little bridge that was below, because we was right up on the DMZ and right by Quezon and Dunn, and we were supposed to prevent anybody from crossing the bridge that wasn't supposed to. We had two twin 40s up there, Dusters, and long about on the 12th, we was doing our wire scans, which it was just straight down, but we moved to different places, different times, so they couldn't get a fix on you. So about 1 o'clock in the morning, myself and my crew member and 4 of the other Dusters were in my bunker there, and we was talking, and about 1:10, my best friend jumped up, and he ran for the door, and next thing I knew, there was a big explosion. And what he did, he took either a grenade or a satchel charge, I can't remember. He took it in his stomach and ran out the door. Huh. Then we had 4 more, I guess they was grenades, I'm not sure, because when I woke up, I was knocked unconscious, I guess, but I woke up, I don't know how long I was out, and 3 of my guys that was in the bunker, they was all wounded real bad. And I heard outside the firing and going on, so I got my rifle and I decided to go out there and get out there, and the Dusters, one of them was blown right away by a rocket. Then the other one was firing straight down so fast that it was just unbelievable, the firepower that put out. And that got quite a few of them, but how they couldn't come up a road because it was mined. So they come straight up the sides somehow. And anyways, we started fighting and shooting. And then we looked around, and all of our protection, South Vietnamese, were gone. All they left was their clothes. They joined the enemy, so they wouldn't get killed, I guess. So we had 2 killed right off, Mitch and Terry Moser, and we had all 13 of us, or 12 of us that was still able to shoot and fight, and all of us was wounded. And we fought until our ammo ran out.
Then what do you do?
Well, we started fighting hand to hand, and it was just, they was just coming, just waves, just coming up on the hill, and I told this other sergeant, he was in charge of Duster, to see if it'd start, and we'd load all of our guys and get out of there before another group come up, because we couldn't have fought much longer. You know, we'd all been dead if we stayed there. No ammunition, no radios to call for help. And we shot a red flare up. What a red flare means, you're being overrun. And there's 2 base camps around us, J.J. Carroll, which was about 2 miles, and Quezon and Dung Ha, they was across the bridge. But they couldn't get to us because they was under sniper attack also. So nobody can come to our help. When you see a red flare, you try to help, and it was foggy that night. We couldn't get no air support, no nothing. So we fought until we couldn't fight no more, and the other sergeant got on a duster, and his driver, was shot in the abdomen, and he drove that track and drove around to the bunker, my bunker, and I carried out 3 of my buddies, put them up there. Then I tried to find Mitch, but I don't know what happened to him. I thought he was by the door somewhere, but he wasn't. So we put Terry Mosier in the ammo bunker. You know, they did awful things to Americans. So we tried to hide them. So we all got on the duster and went to J.J. Carroll. We didn't have no way to communicate. And we got about 100 yards from their gate, and they started firing on us. They didn't know who it was, which I didn't blame them, but we got so mad that we started hollering out where we was from, what towns, and, you know, something the NBA wouldn't know about, you know. So finally, some guy says, "Y'all a bunch of Yankees?" And a friend of mine says, "Yeah, we're from from KGO Bridge. We got overrun, and we're trying to get help and get inside there because we had all the wounded." So finally, they opened the gate, and we got inside. They was under sniper attack also. Every once in a while, you hear them popping off the rounds with the AK. And we got inside the gate, and they got all the wounded off. Then I fell off the track. I rolled off the track, and that's the last I remember until I woke up in the emergency room. I had a shrapnel in my chest, my left leg. I was cut on my arm, bandaged, and had shrapnel in my right leg, just a little bit of it. But I didn't even know I was hurt. And I guess the adrenaline, because I was thinking we got to save these guys, they're sacrificing. So we did. We went off the hill, got them to safety, and we was all medevaced out to, where did we go? To a MASH unit. I can't remember exactly where it was. Then I had surgery there and everything, stabilized us. Then they flew us out to the Freedom ship, the hospital ship. And I guess I stayed there for about 6 months. Then I went back to my base camp, and they put me on another LZ. So, and
Where were you then?
I was in Da Nang, our base camp. Then they put me on a hill called 327. It was really a vacation hill, really, because we was in the middle of Da Nang. And they had running water and ice boxes and everything up there. And that's where I stayed until 72. Then I came home in 73. And 72, I went home, come back. Then I went to Fort Sill as an instructor. And I teach there for about 2 months. Then I went back to Vietnam till the end of 73.
What did you do in Vietnam the second time you went?
I was with the Air Defense, but I was more or less at a base camp called Phu Bai, and I'd teach others, you know, how to search the wire, how to do the infrared, where you can spot on infrared, it's just a green figure or animal, it's all green.
How
And,
do you search the wire?
you just put it on infrared. You don't want to use your white light unless you have to, because they can't get a direct shot on you, but they can get around the area you're at with mortars. That's what they try to do. And you go down there and just tip your light down. We're up on an angle, and put it on infrared. Then you use your infrared scopes, and you just go slow across the wire or the road or wherever it may be.
Looking for people or
Right, looking for anything.
yeah.
And we go all around the camp. We got different places to go. We got about 8 or 9 places. And we never go back to the same route or the same hours. We just, from dusk till dawn, we just do different positions and just keep searching. And a lot of times we're on that base had a big old rice paddy out in front of us. And sometimes they're supposed to be inside.
They who?
Vietnamese. They had a curfew at night not to be out after night. Sometimes you catch Papa San or Mama San coming out of the hooch at night, but they're no threat. They're just doing the business. I don't know what they're doing, but we keep an eye on them, and then they go right back in. So,
What was the hospital ship like?
oh, it was wonderful. They had lots of doctors. It was, I think they had 4 surgical units, operating rooms, and the bay I was in had 100 beds, and then there was 3 floors or 3 stacks, and I guess they held about 300 patients.
Wow.
And but they was excellent doctors, excellent nurses. They took care of us and made us feel good.
You mentioned the Tet Offensive, that this
Yes.
time you were up watching the bridge was
1968.
around that. Okay.
Yes.
What did you know about what was going on with the Tet Offensive?
We really didn't know about what was going on, because what they did, the NVA and the Viet Cong got together. And all of them, some of them had a city to go, like Hue. They sent a massive armor or VC there. Big cities like Saigon, they was hit. Tan Son Nhut Air Base. And they had another bridge called Newport Bridge, which was over a big river, the Mekong Delta. And we just protected that too also. But what they done, they all converged on different big areas, Bien Hoa, Long Binh, wherever they can get control of. But we was lucky enough to beat them back. The Marines were up around Hue, and they got the Hue back, but it was all feet by feet, every step of the way. There was a lot of casualties, American casualties, trying to take back these cities. And I never seen so much bloodshed as I seen around that bridge. It is everywhere. It's really amazing how many people they have in that country. You can't even estimate how many people they got. Because it just seemed like I'll say shoot 10 and 20 more would come in its place. And it was just awful for us to be over there. But we did what we had to do.
What did you know about the politics behind the war, the reasons for the war when you went?
My personal opinion is it was all political. It sometimes, well, I can't say that, but sometimes they do a ceasefire, and you can be right beside the enemy, but you couldn't shoot them. But they can shoot at us. They're supposed not to, but and I really think it's all political. To tell you the truth, I wasn't into all that, and all I was doing was trying to help my friends stay alive over there. But it was all political, I think. My personal opinion is just country. They've been fighting hundreds of years. The French, the Japanese, the Chinese all tried to take them, and they couldn't. They threw them out. And as far as I'm concerned, when they really made me mad when they pulled us all out and just left it. And some of our comrades were still over there, and they knew it, didn't do nothing about it. So I got pretty upset about that, knowing they could have went in there and got them if they wanted to. We had the people to do it.
You had a friend in that bunker that took that grenade.
Yes, Mitchell Stout. He's a good friend of mine. He's a hillbilly from Tennessee. And we was friends. He was up there. He come up about 7 months earlier. And we got to be pretty close friends, and he was in charge of one duster. And then that night, when that happened, we couldn't find him, and you know, I know it didn't, you know, destroy his body, because all you seen was a flash, and he took it in the stomach. When they finally recovered him, he was knocked over to the next bunker when he exploded. And they went up the next morning and found him and brought him home. And he got 1998, I think, he was awarded the Medal of Honor. Finally, after we put in all years before. And it's got to go through a process. Chief of Staff's got to approve it, and on up all the way. Mm-hmm. So finally they approved it, and then we had a big ceremony for him. And that's when I met his family, his mother and 2 sisters. That was the hardest thing I had to do, was his mother wanted to know exactly what happened. I really couldn't tell her. I just told her there's so much confusion, I don't know what happened. Because it's hard trying to tell a mother, and he was killed on her birthday. And it's just hard to tell a mother or any family about your son or husband dead, and the details of it. I just couldn't do it. And she respected that.
But he ran out that door, so he was conscious of what he was doing.
Oh yeah, he was I'm pretty sure it was a satchel charge. You know, that's a bag of explosives. And if it come in, it probably would have killed us all. So I don't know what prompted him to do it. He just seen a shadow at the door and he ran. And he took it, whoever it was, with him. So he saved our lives more or less there, taking that and running out with it.
You saw a lot of
I seen a lot of misery, pain. I lost 4 good friends when we went together over there, and they was all killed within 6 months. And I guess I was lucky. God was watching over me. There was a lot of times I should have been dead, lots of times. But I survived. But they keep saying everybody's heroes. The only heroes are the ones we left over there. They're the real heroes. And that's what I always believe. And until I die, that's what I'll believe. We don't need no medals to prove our bravery or nothing. It's the comradeship you had between the guys you was with. It's more or less like a family, you know. And I was lucky to have meet so many different personalities. And we all come together in one bond when something happens. We fight amongst ourselves, but that's natural. Just like any family, but somebody mess with somebody else, that's a no-no.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. What did you know about what was going on at home while you
I didn't know nothing. We wasn't around TV or papers or anything. We had the Stars and Stripes, but it's like everything else. When you're out on a fire base, you might get one every 6, 7 months. And that's about when they do a ammo drop or a food drop or whatever. And I didn't know nothing was back home. I wrote a letter to my dad. And he'd tell me they're protesting, but it didn't dawn on me why, you know, until we flew back home.
You came home and went back. So what was it like when you came home?
When I first come home, we flew into Oakland, California. And we was in our jungle fatigues. We just come home like that, and then at this Army base there, Fort Ord, they give you, you know, your clothes to go home with, a uniform. But anyways, before we got off the plane, they had a bunch of people, I call them hippies, but there's more than them there. They was blocking the exit for us to come out and get inside. And they made us stay on the plane. They was hollering baby killers and you're not fit to be back in America. And that really made us feel bad. You know, we're over there and we fought for their rights to do this, but, you know, why do it to us, you know? We had so many, I don't know, I just never kept up political. It just made me mad, and we had an old lieutenant colonel on there, and he told them, I guess they was police or somebody, he said, you just stand back and let us get off the plane and we'll take care of this. And they wouldn't let us, of course. So they went and got civilian clothes for us. We had changed on the plane, couldn't show our uniforms, you know, and that really hurt me the most. Because I was proud of my uniform. I'm proud of what I did. There are some things you had to do what you didn't like, but the United States wouldn't be free if we don't keep fighting like we're doing now. Still fighting. But I think the United States ought to keep out of other people's business, let them handle their own. That's what I really felt, especially in Vietnam. They've been fighting for hundreds of years, different countries, and they won every time. There's no way in the world you can beat Vietnam. No way. Because they got tunnels everywhere, they got everything. You know, they know the terrain. There's just no way you can beat them. And all that money we wasted, all the young guys we lost, it just shouldn't have happened that way. We should have just stayed out of it as far as I was concerned. But as long as we had to do it, I was willing to do it.
You came home and then went back. In the interim, did you watch media coverage of what was happening?
I didn't want it. It'd make me mad. I broke one TV at the house. It just made me mad the way they was talking. And just like they'd blame a little peon that a higher up made the mistake. And they have always had a fall guy. You know what rolls downhill, you know, the old saying. And that's what happens. And I don't know. I didn't like to be in stateside. I just wanted to get out, so I went back to Vietnam. Then I come back home, and it's still the same thing. All through the Vietnam War, same thing. We didn't get no respect. You couldn't walk through an airport with uniform on. They're just, even kids were throwing things, you know. That's not right. You don't teach children to do that. You teach them, well, they're over there protecting you. You have this freedom because of them and all of our other services. And so I was lucky enough that in 1974, when I come back, they let me go to Panama. And I stayed 4.5 years over in Panama. And it was just like, the weather's just like Vietnam, monsoons and everything. So I did the same thing over there. And I was lucky to get there. A lot of my friends went to Alaska from Vietnam.
So it was easier to stay and be stationed somewhere else than it was to come home and be in the U.S.
Yeah, I was in the Army 12 years. Total of 12 years, I spent 1.5 years in the States. Because I'd probably been in jail if I was in the States, because I was hot-tempered anyways, and I hear anybody talk about anything, you know, the war, or we shouldn't have been there, these guys killed these, and it just set me off. I go crazy. I just want to hurt them. And that's why I never stayed stateside.
I haven't asked anybody about how it changed the culture here, the war. I mean, we had the music, we had the food. How did you notice how the war affected here?
Well, I know it put a lot of pressure on some people, this war. The pros and cons of why we shouldn't have been there, or should we have been there. And we lost 58,000 over there, and not telling how many KIAs we had and POWs we left over there. But the country just didn't seem like they cared about nothing. The food changes, the music changes. We was over there, when you got lucky enough to hear music, it was all, you know, rock and roll in the 60s and 70s. And I guess the most important change in school, you never heard about Vietnam. They didn't teach it. Because for a long time, they started talking about it, but nowadays, they don't even know what World War I, World War II was, let alone Korea, Vietnam, and so forth. The schools, the children are ignorant right now to wars. I mean, I hate to say that, but they don't know nothing about wars. They don't teach it no more. It's just like all these people taking down the monuments of Confederates, you know, Jeff Davis and Robert E. Lee and all that, you know. There ain't no sense in that. That's our history. It ought to be told. It ought to be taught in school. That's...
When looking back at it, How do you think it changed you?
Well, I was a pretty good kid, I guess. I played sports and did real good in football, and I went to church every Sunday. My mother seen to that, but I didn't mind. We was in church group, and I was in choir. Didn't smoke, didn't drink, didn't do none of that. I was pretty good shape. Then I got in, went to basic and boot camp, and picked up smoking over there. And that's the first thing they tell you when you get wounded, to smoke a cigarette. Why, I don't know. I guess that's way back in the other wars. You always see them give them a cigarette. So, but it changed me. My mental health changed. My outlook on life changed. When I first come home, I didn't care about nothing, nobody.
Why do you think that was?
My set of mind was, part of me died over there when my friends died. You know, you have a close friend die like that, it takes part of you and you leave it. And I never could have a friend when I come home, because I didn't trust them for some reason. I couldn't trust them, and that's why I was withdrawn and didn't want no friends. I didn't want no help with nothing. You just leave me alone, I'll leave you alone. But mostly it was my temper and my attitude what changed me. I was hard to get along with. My mother, bless her heart, and my father, I was off with them, you know. All my family I didn't want to be around. Because I was afraid I'd hurt somebody or somebody'd say something. And I was real jumpy, the sound of a car backfiring, and I'd hide somewhere or hit her or whatever. But it's just awful. You go over there, then you come back, and you're never the same. Never. I haven't seen one guy come back and be the same person that he was when he went over there. I know I'm not. I was mean and hateful.
We're bringing a half-scale replica of the Vietnam Wall here in December to Amarillo.
Mm-hmm.
And when we do that, we'll have it at John Stiff Park, and so I guess I'm asking a lot of people about if you've been to see the wall.
Yes, ma'am. 2 years ago, we was Danny Miller and Jim DeVore was elected to go on the honor flight, and we all three went, and it was something. I found all my friends. I felt on Mitchell's name, I put my hand up there. It's sort of like I could feel him, or I don't know how to explain it, but I thought he was right there by me when I had my hand over his name. So, yeah, the wall's I don't know. We got to the Vietnam Wall, and I was really, I don't know, it just brings something over you, you know, seeing that and bringing back memories and friends I went in with and didn't come home with. I don't know. But the wall's nice. I recommend anybody go see that if they can. And go on that honor flight. It's worth every minute of it. I don't like flying anymore, but it was worth it. It was. Really felt maybe closure or something, because I still don't know why the good Lord let me live. through all that. And my wife keeps telling me, he's got plans for you. And I keep asking, what plans? I don't know. I really don't know.
She sounds like somebody I should meet.
She's a nurse in Pampa there. She works for Dr. Adams.
How did you wind up in Pampa?
Well, when I come out of the Army in 1978, I went to West Texas and got a job for Halliburton. And boom was on back in West Texas back here. And we was making good money, so I just settled there in Monahans, right by Odessa and Midland, you know, east of it. And I just settled there and decided not to go back home to Ohio. When I left Ohio, I left. I'd never been back for all these years. Why? I can't tell you.
How'd your parents make it through with you going 2 tours Vietnam?
They wasn't happy. But the way I explained it to them, it's just something I got to do. I know I have to do it. Maybe keep some other young guy from getting killed. I don't know. But I know I felt I had to do it and go back. Make amends or do something. I don't know what it was, to tell you the truth. I can't figure out either why I went back. But if I had to do it all over again, I would, same way. I wouldn't hesitate a minute. If they called me up now, I'd go. I'm not in physical shape, but I'd go.
Well, I appreciate you telling your story, and thank you for your service.
Thank you.